Have you ever wondered if you could convert a wedding veil with a comb into a First Communion veil with a headband? Well, you can, and I'm going to show you just how to do that today. So let's get started. Okay, so to do this project, you're going to need your veil and a headband. This is just a plain headband covered with satin that I got from Walmart, and some rosebuds and some pearls that I'm going to embellish it with. And you probably will need like a little piece of satin ribbon as well, because when I put the veil on the headband, I'm going to cover it with the satin. So I'm going to set all this aside and I'm going to start on taking the veil off of the comb. So the first thing, I'm looking at my veil. So they basically just weaved the tulle over the teeth of the comb. So I'm going to take a sharp pair of scissors and I'm going to cut away from the bottom of the comb to see if I can pull it off from there. Once I do that, if it's glued on there as well, I probably won't be able to do that. I'll have to cut it. I'm trying to avoid cutting it because you can see how it's gathered, and the way I want to do it, I want to keep it gathered so that it doesn't really come apart whenever you go to glue it onto the headband. I'm going to go ahead and try and do that. I'm using my wool mat to show you because I want it to be able to show up good on camera so you can see what I'm doing. My nephew's wife got married in this veil, and now their daughter's making her first communion, so she wanted me to convert it for her first communion. I'm just going to take my little pointed scissors here and start to cut away from the comb. And this might take a while depending on, oh, it's going, yeah, it's going to work real good. Okay. You see it's coming off of the comb. And it should stay all together. Another alternative that you can do if you can't cut it away from the comb and it stays gathered together is you could take it to the machine and just sew it as close to the comb as you possibly can get it underneath your sewing machine so that none of this unravels. I want to try to avoid that. See, and then I'll have to turn it this way. Get this end. You'll need some sharp scissors like these little pointed ones. Okay. So now we just need to pull it back, and then we should be able to slide it off this comb. Awesome. Okay. That went better than I thought. Okay. So I'm going to trim some of this off so that it's not too thick because my headband is, fairly narrow. Okay. Now the headband, I just purchased that at Walmart, and they're just $1. You can get a thicker one if you want it a little bit wider at the top. Okay, so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to glue it inside the edge of the headband. And since it's covered in satin, you can use some fabric glue that's a permanent glue to glue it on there. I'm going to use both the fabric glue and some hot glue because I want to make sure that it stays good on here while the permanent glue sets up, because it's not going to set up immediately. But I also want to make sure that it does stay on permanently. So just getting a measurement of this, trying to make sure that it's centered. I'm going to take a clip, and I'm just going to clip that right here and go ahead and clip it in a few places just so I can make sure that I've got it straight and centered. You can also use these clips after you glue it just to make sure that it doesn't go out of place while it's setting up. Okay. And I'm going to embellish it after I glue this on here because I want to make sure that the rosebuds that I'm going to put on the band are not going to be in the way when I go to glue the veil. So I did the veil first. So this looks pretty good, looks centered. I'm going to go ahead and start to hot glue it and permanently glue it. I'm just using the Elegance Fabric Fusion, and they have other brands that you can use of the permanent glue. So either way, whatever you have will work. I'm just going to take and spread a little bit on here. And I'm going to take a few dabs of my hot glue. My glue doesn't want to come out. There it goes. You might need to put a little bit more hot glue. Okay, I'm just going to finish this up and I'll be right back. Okay, so I've glued all of the veil to the underside of the headband. And I put my clips in place to hold it. I'm going to take the clips out now that it's pretty dry. And then I'm going to go in and I'm going to put this piece of satin ribbon right. I'm going to glue it right to where I put the veil. It doesn't have to go all the way around because the ribbon's a little bit wider than the rest of the headband. So I don't want it to go all the way underneath, just over the part that you glued. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And I'm going to start in the center, putting a dab of the hot glue. And find my center of my ribbon. Place it right there, and I want to press it down. Some of the glue might come out, but you can remove that after it cools. And I'm just going to go again all the way down to just past the edges where it's glued. That's just to give it to a little bit of a finishing touch. Also, it's going to be a little bit more comfortable. The fuzzy part of this band right here won't be scratchy or itchy or anything. Okay, I'm going to finish that up and then we can come back and embellish the headband. Okay, so I've finished placing the veil on the headband, glued it, and then I glued that piece of satin over it. Okay, so now I'm going to embellish the headband itself. And to do that, I'm using these little foam rosebuds that I got off of Amazon. I'm going to take each one of them off their stems and I'm going to hot glue it on all the way around the band. Now I had one that I had already done before and that I was going to use, but I noticed because it had been in the air for quite a long time, some of the roses were starting to yellow, and I didn't want that yellowy color in the headband. So you can see the difference here. So instead, I decided to take it off of the headband and use the other headband that I was using to place these new ones on. However, when I did that, I broke the headband. So I had to get some more. Okay. So Now I got to start over, but that's fine because it's going to work out better. It's going to be more of a white color. And I suggest that whenever you do store your veil, to store it in um, a plastic or bag or garment bag or something where the light's not hitting it, so that it will keep your veil from turning colors, and the roses that we put on there. Okay, so I'll just start by just going to cut them off. I'm going to go around the entire headband with these, so I don't know how many I'll exactly need just yet, but you can see some of them, they had like this little tulle veil around the rose itself, so that's going to match well with this. I'm just going to finish taking all these off of the stems. Okay, so I'm going to start by placing one right on top in the middle. I want to use it as my center, my anchor, and so I can see how many that I want to put all the way around. I'm just eyeballing the center. Dab of hot glue there, and then this one that's another dab next to it. Place my next one. And I'm going to put them pretty snug up against each other, so there's no gaps in between them. Maybe I'm going to put a little bit dab on the side of that one as well as next to it. That way the rosebud will attach to the one next to it as well. Okay. And I'm going to go all the way to the end on both sides. So you may need, a lot of these. I don't know how many. We'll see how much I have used. Okay, I'm going to finish putting these on, and then I'll show you what I do next. Okay, so I've finished gluing them all on the band. So the next thing I'm going to do is, you can see some of the green from the bottom of it, and then some of the gaps in between here. So I want to cover that. So I'm going to take these pearls, these beads that I bought, and I'm going to glue them right there all the way around the entire thing. Now this could get a little tricky. I mean, you got to use hot glue, and hot glue can be hot. So you want to be careful when you do this. I'm just going to go right in between where these gaps are. Start there, and then I'm going to put one next to it around the whole thing. I hope I have enough. I do have different sizes, so I'll start with this size right here, and at least go like halfway in the bigger size, and then I might finish off with some smaller size pearls along the ends. Okay, so I've finished putting the pearls all along the front. Let's see. And now I'm going to turn to the back. You can see the back. You can see all this work and greenery on the back. So I want to hide that. And in order to hide that, I'm going to take these little buds that I used on top, and I'm just peeling off the first layer of it. They peel off really easy so that you get these little tiny buds, and there's no tool or anything around it. And I'm just going to go in and glue them along the back of this band here so that it hides all this in the back. And it'll just give it a little bit, like a double layer of flowers. Okay, so after doing the back, I thought it came out pretty good. I really like that. And then decided to do the front that way. So I popped off all of the pearls. I wasn't really feeling the pearls. To me, they didn't look too lined up. They were popping off easily. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the same thing that I did in back to the front. And it's going to make the headband thicker, but it's going to be all roses and it's going to be gorgeous. So after that, I'm going to go in with some little pearls and glue the pearls into or in between some of these rosebuds just to give it a little oomph. Okay, so start doing that. And all I did was, like I said, peel off that rose, the outer layer, and then I want these to sit kind of upright, so I'm going to go in on the side of them with the glue. A little bit on the bottom, a little bit on the side, and then glue them like that. And it'll hide all of this, and then it'll give it a really cool look. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Okay, I just wanted to show you that I'm finishing up the last of this front side. And again, I want to show you how I'm just putting a little bit, enough for glue for 2 rosebuds, and then I just go in and then place them on here. Being careful not to get glue on the veil itself. And then on this side, you can see I tapered it down to where I started the last one. I took an extra layer off of the bud to make it small to put on the end. And so I'm just going to go in and put on these last few. And then I'll put this little baby one on the end. Okay. And so here's our headband. I definitely like it better this way than with the pearls in the front. But I'm still going to use some of the pearls. So I'm going to go in with some of these smaller pearls that I have and just place them, like zigzag every few rosebuds. And I'm going to put them kind of deep and make sure I put enough of the hot glue so that it doesn't come out. They won't pop out and get lost. I'm just going to go in inside to like one of the petals, a little bit of glue. and then place a pearl in there and kind of snug it down in there really deep as I can. I'm going to try not to put any too low down here because it probably wouldn't be seen anyway. And that way, like if your hair gets caught in anything, it's not going to pop them out and make them come loose. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish this up with the pearls, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, so here is the veil. Came out so pretty. Get a closer look of the edging on here. How gorgeous that is. Okay, so I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial, and please let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any questions, let me know. Till next time, bye bye for now.